Yo, what up, though? It's your boy Street Coder Nate, and today I got a fun one for y'all. I'm bringing y'all a new series. This series is going to be on AJAX requests. It's going to be on post requests, like sending data from the browser to a server, retrieving that data back from the server, and showing it on the screen. We're going to be doing different things like get requests, post requests, patch, all of that, working with APIs, all that real good stuff that y'all been hearing about. We're going to turn the JavaScript up. And previously, we ain't really been connecting the JavaScript to HTML, but we're going to actually hop into some connecting JavaScript to HTML as we see what these requests are actually doing. We can see the data coming back from the server and actually start putting that data on the HTML page. So I'm gonna show y'all how we're gonna really start connecting it in this series, rather than just keeping it JavaScript. I'm gonna put all three. I said series, but I'm gonna put all three. Um, I'm gonna connect all three of them with the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Now that we got the basics of all three, getting into these more complicated things like Ajax and XML, HTTP requests, kind of complicated things, and it's just making easier to wrap your mind around if you can really see it all working together. So, without further ado, this video, before you can kind of understand, before I even show you the code for real, on how to like send data from your browser to a server and whatnot, you really got to understand that whole process. So in this video, instead of coding, we're actually gonna hit the iPad. And we're gonna think about what's happening in this process. It's a very abstract process. It's honestly, it's called computer communication. It's a whole like study and whatnot. And so we kind of want to understand what's going on in the network and behind the scenes that most people are not paying attention to. So without further ado, let's get into that part. Cool. So like I said, I got my iPad up on the screen, right here, and I'm just gonna be drawing. Okay, so like I said, this is a very abstract process. So what do I mean by abstract process? Well, it's kind of hard to think about in your head. Like if somebody ever tried to explain something to you and then you was just like, I still don't understand. And that's because like they were trying to paint a picture in your head, but they couldn't paint it well enough, and so you didn't understand it well enough. And so this whole process of browser communicating with the servers very abstract and cannot be communicated properly. Therefore, I like to use my iPad because then I can communicate the pictures that are in my head easier right on the screen. And then you can paint them in your head and you could mix my words with it and it make it an easier way to learn. So that's why I go to my iPad when it's hard to things to explain. Okay, works for me when I'm tutoring, so just gonna do it on my channel too. All right, so let's think about the web. So you have your website, right? And we have been developing websites, but we haven't been talking about like putting the websites out so that people can actually come check out our websites. All our websites that we built, and there's only been like one or two on this channel so far, have been what we say local hosts. They're locally hosted on our computers, right? And so this iPad getting heavy, so hold up. Until I need it, I'm put that hold down. Okay, they're locally hosted on our computer, meaning that like we go to the specific file path and that index.html will open up in Google Chrome or Safari. Dope, we got that. Now, what if someone wants to visit our website who doesn't have access to our computer? Like they want to visit it, like let's say natebaker.me or something. Like they want to go to a website to actually see your index.html. How do you put that out there? Well, the thing is, there's these things all over the world called servers, and these servers are simply just computers, right? And there's these big companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and they own just a bunch of these servers, and these servers have data on them, but they also have different applications. And so what I mean by applications is like when you build up an HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, that's a whole app. And so people put their apps on these servers, and now these servers hold their apps, and then the server gives them an IP address basically the location, specifically where their application is stored on one of their computers, or in other words, server. And now, when people connect to the website, they go to, or they'll use the IP address. And the IP address is usually masked by the domain name. We're going to get into all of this. It's usually masked by the domain name. And the domain name is for us to understand. It's kind of like saying my name, or saving my name in your phone book as Nate instead of my number. Like, it's just, it's easier to remember Nate. And so whenever you want to call Nate, you go to Nate, you don't go type my number in. So IP addresses are the same way. Google.com has an IP address that's like some digits, and it's like usually like four numbers separated by periods. But now they got like 6 numbers that are separated by periods too. But yeah, so that's pretty much how you would put your website out on the internet. And so most people be like paying and whatnot to do it. But here today, I gotta explain this whole process of someone going to get your website. And so let's say we have this computer right here. And this computer is let's say your browser. So this is like Google Chrome or something. Then we also, on the right hand side, have another computer called a server. Now this server browser model is normal. Like this model has been being used all the time. The server browser model. Now let me see if I can make this a little smaller so my shoulder not in the way. Go and bring that up. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the server browser model has always been here, or been here for a long time. And so what do I mean by that? Well, this is actually just a replica of what we do as humans, right? So as humans, when let's say we go to a restaurant and we want to order something, well, we are technically the browser. The browser is also called a client. Now, think about it. It's another word for browser, it's a client. And the client pretty much requests things from the server, right? So you will request like some water, you request your meal, you request all these different things, and then the server goes and somehow gets all of that stuff and brings it back to you, and you're happy, right? So you are also technically called the front end, and this is called the back end. Okay. And so you, as the client, are sending requests to the server. Let's say this is a request, right? And the server is like, and let's say this request is, let's say get water, right? That's the first request that you send to the server. When they come to the table, like what you want some water, bet. So now they go back somehow, let's say process this request, process requests. They go figure out where the water at, go get the water, bet, got the water. What they gonna do? They gonna send back this thing called a response, right? And the response gonna have like, if let's say they found the water, right? They say they have water back there. I don't know too many places that don't got water, but if they don't, they should be locked up or something. So they found the water. So what they would say is let's say their message back would be like, okay. Okay, meaning, all right, everything's smooth. And then next thing you know, they also send you, let's say, the data. Okay, we found the water. Here go a cup of water. All right, bet. So now you got your water back. You can send some more requests. Let me get the 4-piece. You feel me? The 4-piece and fries, something like that, with some Kool-Aid on the side. Bet. So they go process that, take the request, come back, response. This is really how humans work. Like, this is how a regular restaurant, this is how the regular restaurant model works. Once again, the client right here is gonna send these requests to this server over there. So with the client sending the requests to servers, oh wait, that's too dope. Oh yeah, that's dope. Oh, that's really dope. Okay, so with the client sending the request to the server, now take this idea. Take this same idea from you being a client at a restaurant and uh, and a server at a restaurant, and now switch that idea to computers asking other computers for files on their system, right? And so let's see. So let's get back to how we develop apps. So when we get into develop apps, like on our own system, we got the let me zoom in real quick. You gotta come through quick. You got the let's call this HTML file. Bruh, come on. Okay. You got the HTML file. You got the CSS file. What else you got? You got the JavaScript file, and you write in all of these on your computer. You wrote all of these on your computer. And so when you want to see this website, you just go to your local like browser, and then it's like / file / whatever your name is, user, and then HTML index.html or something like that, right? And so now you will be able to see that index.html file in the browser. Well, only you're able to see that. So how do we get all these? How do we get people access to this? Oops. How do we get people access to your? How do we get them access to your website if these files only are on your system? So what we have to do is this thing called the cloud, and the cloud is just a whole bunch of servers. Remember what a server is? Server is just something that got data all over the place, or it's just a computer, a big computer. It's a huge computer that you can. It's basically just a huge computer that holds data and like I was telling you before, like apps. And so what we gonna do is put our files in the cloud, right? We're gonna put our files in the cloud. We're gonna find a server somewhere to store our files on. And now when we store our files on that server is gonna spit back to us an IP address. And so let's say we found a server right here. It's a server, let's call it like a Google server, Google domains or something, you know? And so now we come to Google and we say, yo, can we put our files over here on your server? So now our index.html is here. What else is here? Let me zoom in, my bad. Our index.html. We can also have our JavaScript files. We also have some CSS files. And then Google will say, all right, this part right here on our computer belongs to Nate. Nate owns this part, right? I own that part of their computer. I just bought that part. They allow me to store my my apps on that part. I own that part of the computer. Cool. So now I own that part of the computer. I can put my files there, and they give me the address to that part of the computer. Let's just go like this right now. It's your home address, but we're just gonna act like this is a public address. Okay. So we got they give you the address to that place. So now that you know where your files live, you can always go there. But then they also let you do like, what do you want people to call this website? So then they'll be like, all right, we'll call this website natebaker.me. Now I was talking to you about domain names earlier. This right here, that's the domain name. The right, my bad, natebaker.me. This is the domain name right here. And so basically this is my alias for this. When I put this, my bad, when I put natebaker.me in a browser, what the browser actually sees is that number. It go look that number up. It looks this name up, and then it gets this number, and then it goes, and this number is the address to this computer. So then it goes to that computer and goes and grabs my index.html file and brings it back to the computers. So now let's see this. So let me copy this over here like that. All right, so now if we come down here and I show you this server, remember this is a Google server, and it got and it has my this is natebaker.me, and now I am over here as a browser client, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it Safari. I'm on Safari, right? And I put in natebaker.me. What my computer does is it sends this thing called an HTTP request. So that's like you can substitute HTTP for, like, let's just say client, right? Client. The client is sending a request. When we was talking earlier about me asking the about the person asking the waiter for water, that's the client sending a request. Here, the client is our browser sending an HTTP request, and so this HTTP request is gonna have this word, and it's gonna have a verb. It needs to know what type of request do you want, and it says get. And most of our requests are type of get requests, for real, for real. We get in certain things, and so we have to ask them what to get. For in our case, we were getting water, but typically when you go to like Google.com or something, or natebaker.me or natebaker.me, what you will get is the index.html. So that's usually index.html is what's sent to the browser or sent to the server. So this message is sent over Wi-Fi to the server. And now this server just picked it up. How do we know it went to the server? Because we put in natebaker.me right there. We put natebaker.me, and our browser in the background did this. And it did that in the background. And this is how it connected to the other computer. And so now the other computer has our message. What the other computer does is it breaks down the message. It says, okay, so the IP address that I was looking for is this one. Okay, I know that location is right here. That's Nate's files. All right, what do they want? This is a HTTP request, and it's a get. Okay, what they want me to get? Oh, they want me to get a file. Okay, that's an index.html file. Cool, I found it. Bet. So now what it does is like package it up, and what it do? It sends my bad with the arrows, but pretty much is going from here to back here. Oh, let's see. It's going from it's going from here to there. Here to there. So I made it go loop the loop to go around. All right. And what it's sending is sending a response. And the response gonna say 200, and 200 mean okay. You probably seen 404 somewhere. 404 mean, hey, you at the wrong place. But it say 200, and then you also have the index.html with some other stuff going on. And so now that the browser just got back to index.html, what does the browser do when it gets the index.html file? It shows it to the screen. So it just start painting that index.html to the screen. And that's how the interaction happens, right? That's the interaction between just that's how when you put your website out. And so this whole process is called a deployment process, and you want to be able to deploy your code to a different to a web server so that people can go to web browsers and ask and request your website, and the server will be able to serve that client your website. So this whole process is to start getting your brains to start thinking about sending get requests, post requests, and put requests. I wanted to first break it down to you. It would be like weird to try to figure out like what's the point of doing get requests, post requests, put requests if nobody can even reach my file to begin with. So I wanted to explain the whole deployment process and how it all worked, and taking your files from your computer and pretty much just putting them on another computer, uploading them on another computer so that somebody can request it on the net, right? And so in this next video, what I'm about to get into is we're going to take this a little further. We're going to take this a lot further, actually. And so we're going to go from just having our files on a server to also having our files be able to send, or be able to we're gonna go from having our browsers just ask for files to having a browser ask for data specifically. And so, like data that our website needs, let's say we got a login system or whatnot, and somebody press login, we want to send that data to the back end so we can check to see if that person exists in our database and whatnot. And so we're gonna have to do all of that. This way right here is pretty much a basic way of doing it. We're gonna have to go deeper and understand the importance of sending AJAX and stuff, AJAX requests and stuff. So it's a lot to go, but we gonna get through it. And this one a little tough JavaScript, but like I said, we gonna do a lot of examples, and we got one more video of me showing examples like this, and then we're gonna get really into the code. So bear with me and tap in. Let me know how we going. Let me know if y'all understood. If not, let me know. This is the deployment process. That's what I'm gonna call this video, the deployment process. All right, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.